The Arizona Cardinals were a train wreck last season, resulting in a number 1 overall pick. Not only that, they had a terrible coaching fit as well. They changed their defensive scheme as well to a 4-3 defense, which they did not have the personnel for, and also a injury-riddled offensive line. Can Kliff Kingsbury and his dream QB Kyler Murray take this team to the promised land? Let's find out. Now, we're not going to be talking about the Arizona Cardinals winning the Super Bowl next year. We're actually going to be talking about the Arizona Cardinals possibly making a playoff run next year and being one of the surprise teams to come out of the NFC. Now, I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I have hope in the Arizona Cardinals now. They've been a pretty decent organization the past couple years. Last year was a huge disappointment. Getting that coach out of the defensive coach out of Carolina was not a fit whatsoever. They changed their defensive scheme. They had injuries all over the roster, and it just wasn't looking good for the Arizona Cardinals. But we're looking better now. First, let's talk about this last draft. Now, I think, in my honest opinion, the Arizona Cardinals had the best draft of the 2019 NFL draft. Now, I know they did not really address the offensive line early in the draft, which basically they didn't address at all with getting like a 6th or 7th round offensive lineman, and they didn't address the tight end as well, which were two big needs for that offense. But if you look at everybody that they drafted and where they drafted them at, I mean, it's hard not to say they didn't have a fantastic draft. Being able to draft Kyler Murray, Andy Isabella, Hakeem Butler, Zach Allen, Deontay Thompson, and Byron Murphy is nothing short of a success. Also a step in the right direction. Now, there's an issue with the offensive line. Right now, your best offensive lineman is probably Justin Pugh or A.Q. Shipley, but A.Q. Shipley is very ancient at this point, and he's going to be replaced by the second-year center Mason Cole, who had a very good outing as a rookie last season, showing some flashes, and a lot of the Arizona Cardinals like him a lot, so he may be the starting center going into the season. But Justin Pugh may be your best offensive lineman coming into next season, and that's not a good sign whatsoever. DJ Humphries is still there at left tackle. You have Marcus Gilbert at right tackle. And you also have at the other guard spot, I believe it's J.R. Sweezy, one of the guys from Seattle, who we're going to be talking about Seattle later on in this video as well. But with all those names I just said, it's not great. It's not a great offensive line. It's not even decent. It's about average or below average. But if there's one thing that the Seattle Seahawks have shown us, is that you could have a terrible offensive line or even average offensive line, and you could still win games and move the ball down the field on offense with an athletic quarterback like a Russell Wilson, who is also compared to Kyler Murray, or vice versa. Kyler Murray is most compared to Russell Wilson. Let's talk about the defense for a second. Now, the defense may be the biggest question marks. It just depends on who you ask. They just got Vance Joseph from the Denver Broncos. He's going to be the defensive coordinator, so that means they're moving back to the 3-4 defense, which they have the personnel for, so that's a very good sign. On top of that, they added players like Terrell Suggs, who, yes, is getting older, but I'm pretty sure he could still provide some pass rush for the Arizona Cardinals, putting him next to Chandler Jones, as well as getting Jordan Hicks for the middle linebacker spot, who can be a fantastic middle linebacker, just struggles to stay healthy. Zach Allen is also going to provide a great amount of pass rush for that defense, and also in the middle you have some pretty decent players in the middle as well. Although Patrick Peterson is going to be suspended for about half the season, they still drafted Byron Murphy in the 2nd round, who in my opinion was the best cornerback in the draft. They were still able to grab him up in the 2nd round, and so he should play well in Patrick Peterson's place. And then when Patrick Peterson comes back, you have some very good lockdown corners there on that defense. Moving back to the offense, you're adding weapons like Andy Isabella, adding weapons like Hakeem Butler to a wide receiver core who have pretty decent talent as it is. It's not great, don't get me wrong, but you have some talent to work with adding on to those pieces. You've got Larry Fitz, who is getting older, but he could still play. You also drafted Christian Kirk last year. You have some other guys out there. You just got Kevin White, the 1st round bust. Maybe you can get something out of him. But adding those players, Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler, is already a fantastic addition to the offense with Kyler Murray there. We're also forgetting about sleeper tight end Ricky Seals-Jones, who is an athletic tight end that should be able to reach his potential this year, barring any injuries or any inconsistencies. He should reach his potential. And why is everybody not talking about David Jones? Like, he's still not the best, one of the best running backs in the league. He's still top 10 in my opinion, one of my favorite players in the NFL right now. And yes, he's had some issues with his injuries, but every time he's played, he's always been a star when he's played. Even last year with a terrible offensive line, terrible quarterback play, terrible wide receivers, nobody as a threat on that offense, and they were constantly having to be put in a position to try to get down the field and score because the defense was so bad, and David Johnson was still able to get 1,000 yards. So I'm excited to see what David Johnson is going to do this year, and he's still going to be a huge threat, especially with Kyler Murray there to add that running back quarterback dual threat. And if you come to think of it, I mean, the Seattle Seahawks offense isn't that far off from the Arizona Cardinals offense. You're looking at a bad offensive line. Yes, they both have bad offensive lines, and they're not really any better than each other. Also coming in with a great running game you got with David Johnson and Chris Carson over there in Seattle. You have a fantastically athletic quarterback in Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. And then you have a decent so-so wide receiving core. So you put that all together, the Arizona Cardinals isn't that far off from the Seattle Seahawks offense. It's more like the coaching that is the big difference. We don't know what Kingsbury is going to bring into the NFL. Hopefully it's success. We've seen a past offensive minds from college come into the NFL and not do well. You look at Chip Kelly. So Kliff Kingsbury, we're going to see what we get from him, but he should provide some type of success with Kyler Murray, who he's been dreaming to have as a quarterback ever since Kyler Murray was in high school. So this guy is ready to work with Kyler Murray, and I believe they're going to do it, man. I believe Kyler Murray could even get Rookie of the Year this year. Looking at their schedule, it's not very optimistic, but they have the 12th hardest schedule in the NFL right now. But you can't always look at that schedule because there are some teams that have terrible records, in one year, and then the following year they have great records and vice versa. So you can't always go after that, but they have pretty much an average strength of schedule for the Arizona Cardinals. And the NFC will most likely be one of the most competitive divisions in the NFC next year. You got LA and Seattle, who obviously are going to be at the top, and San Francisco is right there, man. If they stay healthy and Jimmy Garoppolo is able to play, they added some key players to their offense and defense, and we may be looking at the San Francisco 49ers to getting in at the wild card. We may see that, I don't know. But the NFC looks very, very competitive, especially the NFC West. So the Arizona Cardinals are pretty much the odd man out, but they are still in it, I would say. They have a very slim chance of making a playoff run, but I believe we will be talking about the Arizona Cardinals later on in the season as not just being one of the worst teams in the NFL, but one of the teams that are on the rise and potentially being able to make a playoff run in the next 2 years. So I'm going to leave the question up to you guys. Do you guys think the Arizona Cardinals can make a leap from the #1 overall draft pick as being the worst team in the NFL to a playoff contender? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for all NFL news and content. For all Giants news and NFL news alike, I'm Kid Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video.